Hey, welcome to my channel. I see that you've come here for the yoga after hiking or biking. So we are doing a series for stretching after all the exercise you're doing out there. And so it's a really good balance between working out your muscles and making them really strong, and then also stretching them so that they can remain long and loose. So yeah, join me today for 15-20 minute time on our mat that will really target hamstrings, quads, some chest opening, everything that we use while we're hiking or biking. All right, let's get at it. So come to your mat. Let's just start seated. So come on down on your mat. Let's just start by coming into our space on our mat. This is a time where you can just really take some time to nurture your body as well as your soul. So the beautiful thing about yoga is that not only that you are going to stretch those muscles that you've used today and yesterday, but you're also going to find some time to reflect, come inwards, just clear your mind. And the breath that we use always brings us back into that relaxed parasympathetic state. So many benefits. So if you have Ujjayi practice in your breath in your practice, go ahead and you can initiate that. Let's just start with a seated cat-cow. So take your hands to your knees, and on your in-breath, push your heart forward. Look up. And exhale. Round through your spine. Tuck your tailbone and just feel that stretch in your shoulder blades. Inhale, heart forward. Opening, stretching across the collarbone. And exhale, rounding through the spine. Using your knees as leverage to really, really stretch. All right, a couple on your own breath without me blabbing. One more. Good, now come up to center. Let's just stretch through our side a little bit. So inhale, arms float up, and exhale over to the left. Just hold here for a breath. Good, inhale, hands come on back up. Exhale over to the right. Right hand will set down on the ground, and left hand is stretching over your head. Okay, we're gonna do that in kind of more of a flow way now. So inhale, hands up, exhale over to the left. Inhale, up, exhale, other side. Inhale, exhale. One more. Good. Come back to neutral, hands back to your lap. And we're just going to gently fold forward. So on your in-breath, just lift your heart up, look up, and on your exhale, just fold forward just slightly. You can put your hands out in front of you if that feels good. And you can feel a nice stretch in your lower back and maybe in your hips and your bum a little bit here. Walk your hands over to the left now. Make sure your right butt cheek is still on the floor, pressing down. And just feel that beautiful stretch all through your right side and into your right hip. You might be up here, and that's okay. You might be way down farther than me. Let's go over to the right now. Walk your hands over to the right. Ooh, that side's a little bit tighter for me. Can't really go down too far. Just breathe into your back and into your hips. And one more breath here. And then walk yourself back to the center. Come on up. Bring your legs out in front of you. And just give them a little wiggle. A little shaky shake and a wiggle. That feels good, hey? Awesome. Let's come to our hands and knees. We're just gonna, now that we're at our hands and our knees, we're just gonna do a few cats and cows here as well. Still getting warmed up, so inhale, look up, tailbone lifts to the sky. Exhale, round through the spine, tuck the tailbone, lift up. Good. One or two more. Come back to center. Take your right hip and move it towards your right ear. So you're basically looking over your right shoulder and stretching through your left side. Now go to the other side and do the same thing. So it's kind of like a side to side motion. And one more. Good. So let's come up on our knees right now. We're just gonna open up and stretch our shoulders a little bit. Just do a simple camel pose. So when we're biking, or we're forward like this, right? And so we just wanna open up the chest here. So take your hands and just place them on your waist to start off with, or just the back, your lower back. Your feet can be, your feet are on the ground like that, or like this. I like to have my toes tucked just for leverage. And then you want your pelvis to be neutral. On your inhale, lift your heart, open up your chest, look up. Good. Exhale, come back to neutral. It might just look like a micro movement for you, or you might be going back really far. For me, it's a little bit of a micro move. Okay, so let's do a couple more of those. We're almost doing it in a flow motion. So inhale, lean back, open up your chest, exhale, just back to neutral. One more of those. And back to neutral. Good, sit back on your heels. Give yourself a little moment there. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna come into downward dog, the first downward dog of the day. So plant your hands down, fingertips spread wide, and then lift your bum to the sky. Feel your hands and your feet rooting in as your tailbone floats up to the sky. You can move around here a bit, pedal your feet. Inhaling and exhaling, just feel that beautiful stretch through the back of your calves, your hamstrings. Good. On your next inhale, you're going to take your right foot, bring it up and plant it in between your feet. I'm going to use some blocks here. Yet. Come right on up into high lunge. Couple of breaths here. So feet are strong and planted into the earth while your upper body and your hands are just floating up to the sky. Shoulders are relaxed. Right knee stacked over right ankle. Good. Feel the left hip flexor getting an awesome stretch there. Good. On your exhale, come back down. And back into downward dog. One more breath here. On your next in-breath, float your left foot up to the front of the mat in between your hands. Get situated and grounded there in your low lunge, and then come on up for high lunge. Fingertips reaching to the sky. Back leg is nice and straight and strong. You're pressing into your toes. Front knee stacked over front ankle. Your tail is neutral. Tuck it a little bit if you feel like it's sticking out. Good. Now back into downward dog. Lift your right leg up to the sky, and then as you exhale, bring it forward into pigeon. Scoot your left leg back a bit and just take a look and make sure it's nice and straight. Relax your shoulders. Make sure your hips are squared. You're not leaning to one side or the other. Couple breaths here. Now you're going to take your left hand and reach around. Take your left foot actually first and lift it up towards your head. And then take your left hand, reach around and grab onto your ankle. This is going to give you a really nice quad stretch. Plus you're getting the right hip. You're getting into the right hip. So take a couple deep breaths here. And if you're not doing this, if this is not in your practice, you can choose to just stay here in pigeon. So it's still active. We're still opening our heart. Okay? We're still active in our front body. Good. On the next exhale, take your right foot back and just go into child's pose. You can do open, wide leg or whatever feels best to you. 3 breaths here. Just giving your body a chance to reset. All right, on your next in-breath, back to downward dog. Exhale into downward dog. And then we're going to go to the other side with pigeon on the left side. Left leg up and then coming right through into pigeon. Scoot your right leg back. Make sure it's a nice straight line. And that your hips are squared and in line. Your heart is opening towards the front. You've almost got like a upward pigeon here. Instead of an upward facing dog, you're an upward pigeon. You know that's my made up pose, right? And then if you want, take your right hand and grab onto your right ankle for a quad stretch. Breathe here. Use the breath to get into the pose. work through some of the discomfort, not pain, discomfort. Go, and then just come back down into a quick child's pose. Just release that lower back. You can wiggle, kind of wiggle from side to side. Good. So we're just going to come on up now. So slowly get on up. When you get up, kind of just take a moment to get situated because we were down on the ground for a bit. We're going to close off the class with a really nice hamstring stretch. So take your feet pretty wide, like 3 or 4 feet apart. Have your toes facing forward, maybe just a little bit facing in. And we're just going to do a nice hamstring stretch. So Prasarita, Padottanasana. Take your hands and clasp them behind your back. Release your shoulders and your neck. On the inhale, you want to shine your heart forward. Exhale, release. Inhale and exhale. So we're getting a nice stretch for our shoulders, our chest, and hamstrings all in one. I love this pose. Make sure your feet are rooted down, your quads are engaged, your core is strong, and your neck is loose and limber. You're not scrunching your neck. If your hands don't feel comfortable here, you can always just bring them down and resting your hands on your lower back. Now take your hands down to the mat, and then let's just go to the right. Grab your right ankle and just kind of turn to the right a little bit. You probably feel an intensification in the stretch in the right hamstring. Let's go over to the left. Walk your hands over to the left.